So up to previous video we have written the code for start service control dispatcher A, turning our main thread into a control dispatcher. So now what we are going to do is we are going to write our service control handler function. So let's talk about this. When SCM sends control codes to service program using control service function, so here it specifies the number corresponding to some control code, whether to stop the service, pause the service, or completely shut down the service. It will send to the control dispatcher, and then this control dispatcher invokes the corresponding registered handler and pass the control code to that handler function. So we will be calling the register service control handler function and specify our user handler function, so that whenever SCM sends a control code to control dispatcher, it will pass that code to our handler function. Now our handler function should change the service status according to the control code. So if SCM sends service control stop, then we need to stop our thread and then set the service status to stopped using this function. So it should be done before 30 seconds after receiving the control code. So if the 30 seconds are completed, then SCM thinks that our service is not responding. So up to previous video we have written this code, our actual main function, and we have defined this service table entry vector, and we have pushed one stating that our service main is the main function for our service. So I have already written some code for reflective loading. It's not important for the videos. If you are into malware development, I highly recommend my offensive C# and Rust course. So now we are going to write some code in our service main function. We will be using the function register service control handler A function. So the first parameter is service name, and second parameter is function for the control handler function, address of the control handler function. So let's write this register service control handler, and the service name, I have declared our service as a global variable, service 1 name. And the second parameter is the address of our service control handler function, which I have declared here. It takes U32 control code. So let's copy this name as function U32. So we need to transmute this one. So now we have registered our function as a control handler. Whenever SCM sends the control code to the control dispatcher, that code will be thrown into this parameter, and we are going to handle here. So there is a structure we need to know, that is service status. So we will be using this function set service status. The first parameter is service status handle, and the second parameter is the service status structure object. So this will be returned by this function. So here you can see the return type is service status handle. So what we can do is we are going to declare a global variable for the service status handle, because that handle will also be used by the service 1 control handler. Let's say this as status handle. So this second one underscore, let's copy this one, and for now let's say 0 So we should also create a global variable for the service status structure object. You can create in this function, but this function should also access that variable. So let's create a global one, static. Let's call this as service status. So let's copy all of these members and make this as 0 for every field. So let's go and see the members of this structure. So the first one is service type. So we'll be using the service own process, because our process our service will be running in our own process. So here you can see the Win32 own process and the shared process. Will be using Win32 own process. And current state, so this indicates the current state of the service, whether you can see the different states, whether it is paused, running, start pending, or stop pending, or stopped. And controls accepted, so this member indicates SCM that which controls are accepted by the service. So before starting of the service, so we should put this member as 0, because before starting of the service will not accept any controls from the SCM. So when the service has started, then we need to modify this member. So controls accepted, so after service has started, it can accept the stop control code, so it can accept pause control code. So like that we need to set these controls accepted. So this is here you can see the different values. And the exit code, this is useful for the administrator. If you want to query the service configuration, then you will see the exit code. So specific exit code and checkpoint. So this checkpoint is like notifying the SCM that our service is still running. So for example, the service should increment its value as it completes each step of initialization when it is starting up. So this checkpoint is like when you want to do some long operation, or if there is any change of state, like it's an important step, then you need to increment the value of checkpoint. So you can query the configuration for the service and you can see the checkpoint. If the checkpoint is like 1 or 2, so that indicates that service is still running, or it is waiting for the user input or something like that. So it indicates that SCM that it is still running. And wait hint indicates that this many number of milliseconds the SCM can wait for the service status. Suppose the service is waiting for some file handle to be accessed, so then we can say like wait for up to 10 seconds, then the SCM will not query for up to 10 seconds, and after 10 seconds it will ask again for the state. So this is the value usage of this wait hint. So initially we have put all the values as 0. Now coming to the service control handler function, we will be writing only the code for the service control stop. So we will be if cc is equals to service control stop, then we can say service status dot So we'll be putting the current state as service stop and service status dot accept controls accepted is equals to 0, because we are stopping and we no longer accept any control codes from the SCM. So win32execute is equals to, you can put get last error here, or you can put 0 as well since we are exiting. And now we need to call the function set service status. So the first one is service status handle and second one is the object of this service status structure. Status handle and ampersand mute service status. Okay, now we are good to go. So that's all for this video, writing our service control handler.